Why do you record?
So that when people are gone, it's all on Canvas. They can watch the video.
Oh.
Okay. So, first, before anything, get rid of the negative if there is one. Then split apart the variable and the number. Okay? So now this one, I can do like normal. What are some factors of 20? Great. Then 2 and 5. Do I want groups of 4 again?
If you want.
No.
Oh.
Not even if I want, because it's a square root, right?
Yeah.
Pairs.
So just a pair?
So I got a pair of 2s. But then what did we learn last class, you guys? What is this? Good. Do we have a symbol or something for it? Good. I square root 5. So notice the square root 20 part was exactly the same as what we've been doing. I just took care of the negative separate.
So it's not a negative?
Nope. That's what the I takes care of.
Oh. Sorry, I didn't hear you. What was it?
Good? Let's do another one. Okay, let's look at number 8. Okay, split the negative. $32 is even, so I know it breaks into by 2. So I did 2 and 16, then 2 and 8, 2 and 4, 2 and 2. That looks too scary with the numbers, so I like to cross off all the non-primes. Pairs, triples, groups of 4. Which one? Pairs, good. So that pair comes out, and that pair comes out. What's that? What's the square root of negative 1? I. And then my leftover 2. So 4i square root 2.
Can we try doing one by ourselves?
Not yet. We're not ready quite yet. Okay. So last thing. So the reason why I is an imaginary number, square root of negative 1. So a square root means the same number times itself twice, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I can't multiply the same number times itself to get a negative is because if I multiply two things together and they're both negative, it makes it positive, right? So that's why that's an I, okay? Now, there's a difference though. It's okay if you don't know where the cube root is on your calculators. I just want to show you this. Okay, notice how here, if I do that square root of negative 1, it's like error, mayday, right? Okay, but here's the difference. If I instead do, wait for it, the cube root of negative 1, okay, this is how your calculators look, because that 3 is like the little 3 there, okay? But that one isn't imaginary, because the idea is this. If I want the same number times itself 3 times, that can be negative. Because what do 3 negatives make? A negative, okay? So here's the idea for this. You may want to put it on the corner over here, okay? Because you're going to want this later. Okay, the square root of negative 1 is I. But the cube root of -1 is -1. Oop. I can't square root a negative because 2 negatives make a positive. But I can cube root a negative because 3 negatives stay negative. So that's the last big idea today. This is a hard day. You guys are really doing a good job, okay? So with that in mind, let's look at 15. First thing I want to do is split apart the negative like I did on the other ones. Okay, 250. What's a number that goes into 250 if it ends in 0? 10, right? Good. It's a cube root, so I want triples, right?
Is the one that you crossed out, is that 30?
25 and 10. It's a cube root, right? So I want triples. Do I have any? The 5s. So 5 cube root of my leftover
Miss, how can I graduate early? So I'm going to see you.
you got to talk to your counselor about that. Yeah. What about this? Don't forget this.
Huh?
What's this?
That's in -1.
Good. So that's my answer.
Oh, you put negative. That's it?
I can tell you guys are like done, but there's one more type that is on your homework we haven't gone over. Do you guys want to try and figure it out, or do you want me to do one of them? I can tell we're mentally done, right? But I'm still happy to go through the last example if you want. You want me to? Okay, let's do one of them. Okay, go down to the very last page. Let's look at number 26, okay? We're going backwards now, okay? There's some of these on your homework, so let's get through one example. I can tell we're done. I'm done too, okay? But this is it, okay? So I'm going to go backwards. This is how I understand if you really get it or not, okay? So right now, this is the simplified, and I want to know what the question was before I simplified, okay? So I know that when I simplified, this 3, right, could come out because how many were there at the beginning? If that 3 can come out, then the only way that can happen is if how many had there have been in the beginning? 2 of them, right? Because it's a square root. So the only way that 3 could have come out is if I had had 2 of them in the beginning. And those 2 paired up. We're going backwards, right? The fact that this 5 did not pair up means that there was just the 1 in there. Good? Okay, this y squared is telling me that I was able to take out 2 different y's in the beginning, right? So if I could take out 2 y's in the beginning, how many were there? 4. Right? Because each of these y's has to represent a pair on the inside, right? Think of it like this. This pair is one of these y's, and this pair is one of those y's, and this pair is the 3. Does that make sense? And then you just multiply it all out. So 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 times 5 is 45. And then y to the 4th. So we're going backwards. This is like the longest I've ever made you sit for a lesson. You guys really are doing good. I know it's a tough day. Do you want one more or do you want homework? Homework, okay. That's what I figured. Good work.